Jim, hand me that blue goose if you would. I want to talk to you a little bit about our features. A lot of people say a windsock is just a windsock, and we wholeheartedly disagree. Let's start with the heads. The heads are ABS plastic with a UV inhibitor built in to keep them from yellowing in the sun. Some of the products I used over the years yellowed after several years in the sun. We have had some of these decoys out for 3 years straight, and there still is no yellowing. They're tough, there's standoffs built into it, a special paint recipe that we came up with adheres really well to the plastic. So that's our heads. The heads are connected through a push nut type configuration, so it's very, very strong. Once it's connected, it's almost impossible to pull off. So you can actually put them into the ground and pull them out of the ground, grabbing them by the head. Another main feature of our decoy is our crush-proof collar. We use a special food service grade tubing in this collar. It's a tubing, not a flat banding piece of plastic that crushes when you put decoys on top of decoys in bags and bags on top of bags in trailers, and then you bring them out the next year and they're flat. This pops right back into almost round, not perfectly round, but a nice big fat oval to collect the wind. How does that help you? Well, it helps you on those low wind days because it collects a lot of air where the other flattened ones wouldn't. And on high wind days, it fills very evenly and you don't get the whip effect of some decoys. Folks call it the death thrash. Okay. We also have fiberglass stakes. Okay, these fiberglass stakes, you have the option when you order to have either tan or black fiberglass stakes. It's your option as the customer. The drain holes are in the bottom and they're strategically placed a little farther back because we know sometimes when the wind blows real hard, the decoy will tilt and then you still have water sitting back by the tail. It won't drain properly, so they're a little farther back. The ink recipe is a special recipe that we use because it's very, very flat. And we don't like glare on the decoys. We all know that on a sunny day. So we try to keep our inks as flat as possible so the sun will not shine off of the decoys. So that's some of the main features of the decoy. The back support is basically unbreakable, but still bends and gives if you put it in the bag or it needs to give a little bit for you, it will. Very light, very flexible, but very strong. So that's what we got with the decoys here, that all made in America. We have made the commitment that after a combined 50 years in uniform between us, that we will not do this offshore. These will be made in America or they won't be made at all. So not only do you have the good components coming from America, you have American hands building them.
Two other products I'd like to talk about in the design of the decoy that Chuck came up with is one, the flocking. When you get flocking from most of our competitors, and you take your fingernail and you run it like this, up and down, that flocking comes off. The flocking doesn't come off these decoys. We've taken the card that has next to Chuck, you want to hold that up? Has gone to 3 years worth of sport shows. That card has been scratched from everything from a fingernail to a knife blade, and the flocking still adheres. Most of our competitors don't do that. One of the other things Chuck talked about was the tan stake. Why did we use tan initially? Well, number one, it blends in with a lot of the different environment that we hunt with. That's important, but it's probably not as important as how well the goose sees. It's been said by science, people I don't know, but it's out there, that a goose sees 3 times better than a human. If I can see a black stake in a cut cornfield at 30 yards, a goose can see a black stake at 90 yards. And I don't know about you, but I'm not pulling the trigger when a goose is 90 yards out. So that's one of the reasons that we did that. The other piece we have is the original back support. And you see this here in the side kick, there's a side support that comes off of that. And it can be adjusted up and down these holes so that it sits at different angles to the wind. So not only will it sit perpendicular like that one's set up to do when it's set up about the 4th hole back, but if you set it back in the back hole, it'll sit at this angle. Or if you sit it at the front, it'll sit at that angle, depending on which direction the wind's blowing. And then what that does is that gives you the entire look of the full body spread without the weight or the cost or the size associated with moving it around.
We have various models. As you can see, a few of them set up here. Of course, we have our Snow Goose series, and a lot of the folks like the headless windsock to build up a lot of volume in their spread. The headless being over there. On top of that, you'll see what we call the T-handle. The T-handle is rounded off. It makes it very easy to push into the ground and also get your fingers underneath and pick it up when you're pulling your spread. So we have those in Sentry model, headless, and sidekick. This is one of our adult blue geese here in front of me. We also have the juvenile blue goose, and you see the speckle belly there, and also the Canadas. The Canadas and speckle bellies also come in standard feeders, and also the sidekick feeder. So that's the whole series we have. And I think if you poke around the website, you're going to find some things that you're going to like about the decoys. You'll learn some more about our products. Listen, there's just no way in hell we were giving this to China. And so these are all made in the USA. And I think you'll truly find that if you try a few of these and work with them for a period of time, you'll see that Anser decoys are truly better in the long run.